Yeah, good evening, everybody. Session 2, we are back. We are back. You agree with me? We are a bit late, 2 minutes late. Session 1, you agree with me that it was going on, and it was all shade of awesome. So we couldn't just leave it like that, and so coming back for session 2 now, we had to take a little more time before coming. So yes, welcome. This is Winning the Parenting Battles with the Visionary Parents Academy. Is our first conference ever, and this is our day 2, session 2. Yes, day 2, session 2. We promise you 10 speakers, 6 days. So we still have tomorrow, the next tomorrow, and of course the last day for us to go. I hope you have been taking your notes, because my notes don't full. Oh, parenting is tough, but losing is not an option. It's not even negotiable. It's not an option for us. Now, it is why we are learning, we are relearning, we are unlearning, we are learning, and we are doing everything. It is why this conference, we are bringing people, rather we brought to you people who have the struggles we are struggling with, who once had the questions we have, who once had the struggles we have, so that they can come and help us, give us like what we can do. And today we have, like I said during the last session, please, if you have not shared that video, go and share it. Go and share it, because you agree that it was all fire, and you need to share it. Every community you belong to, your church community, your old school association community, your children's PTA, share it. Your neighbor, your friends, even people that are not your friends, share it. Oh, because we need to create a safe space for our children, and your children are not safe until every child around your children are safe. So you need to share it. This time around, we have Coach Omolabake Odegbami. I'm smiling because she's soft spoken. So she's not going to be giving us all those fire energy, but she has the story. And I've been learning to speak like her for the longest time ever. But it's not just day, not just day. If you didn't day, didn't day. If you didn't day, didn't day. So she as a mom, she's the mom of 2 amazing children. However, she has a story that can help us. If you are a mom of a daughter, a teenage girl, you want to sit down, bring your writing materials, bring your water, bring your coke, bring your popcorn, and you want to share, because she got pregnant as a young adult who was living in her papa's house, when everybody was like, I'm going to the university, I'm learning a skill. Omolabake was busy falling pregnant. But her story today is going to teach us parents what we should know about raising our daughters, so that, yes, our own lessons can be a building block for us raising our children. Thank you so much, ma. I know you are very busy, but thank you so much, ma. I know passion made you agree to do this. Thank you so much, ma. So let's know you more. Let's get started.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Wherever you're watching us from, Nigeria, everywhere in the world, I am super, super excited to be here this evening. And I really want to appreciate Coach Enimien, as you are doing a fantastic job in a time like this. Even though we have so many coaches, we have so many people out there that are into parenting and all of that, yet there is still a lot to be done. There is still a lot of people that we need to reach. And my name is Omolabake Odegbami. Like Coach has rightly said, I have 2 amazing boys. A wife. I'm a teacher. I work with children because it's a passion of mine, so that, the kind of experiences that, I had growing up, we can use our system, our ideas, our knowledge, our experience to impart. And as a result, I believe firsthand, we need to teach ourselves as parents. We need to understand some of these things so that we can parent better. So I would not like to take our time. I'm also a partnership coach at the Visionary Academy. So there we talk about everything parenting, how we can give the best of whatever it is that we have. So tonight, it's the conference. Our conference title is Winning Parenting Battle. And I was listening to Real Worry Mom before she went offline. And, she said, if you're not ready to born, to train, make you no born, no, because giving birth and having children is a lot of work. I remember my story very well. It's a story today because I can sit here as a story to tell you people. And I also remember that she mentioned about storytelling because that's the only way we can connect ourselves. I think Coach Eminem is out, but I will continue with my conversation. That's the only way we can connect ourselves with the reality of today. I grew up in a family of 7, so my life is in 3 phases. I had a story of myself as a young girl, my childhood story, growing up with my mom and my dad. I have another phase of my story growing up with my dad as a parent because my mom passed. And I have another story of myself as a young mom. And I can tell this story today because it's not because I made any fantastic contribution or I had any proud knowledge to what I was supposed to do. I would just say that my case was a case of God having his hand in my story. And that is why I can share my experience today, because even though I had my son at a very early age, I am fortunate that I married the father of my child. And that's not the story for everyone. And I would also like to tell us that that is the more reason why we must be in a community. If you are not in a community, parenting is something that you can do alone. You cannot parent alone. We need to relearn, unlearn, and learn new patterns and new things. And it's a community. Everybody comes to share their experience, even though no child is the same. But at least you can have 1 or 2 experiences, which is why we recommend that if you are not a part of the Visionary Academy, you are really missing a lot. So let me start from the very, very beginning. I grew up in a family of 7, and I was growing up with my mom and my dad. And my dad and mom were always, together doing what they had to do. But there was something that was dominant that my mom used to do then, was that whenever you err, whenever you do anything that is wrong, my mom would take, instead of her taking action, she would tell us that I'm going to report you to your father as soon as your father gets back. And I know that some parents, even up to today, so I'll be taking the story side by side. I'll be sharing my experience, and I'll be sharing what I have come to learn as a result of the way I grew up. So now, even looking at this conference that we're having today, Coach Emile, how many fathers do we have available here?
I doubt. Even in the Visionary Parents Academy, where we talk
So
about
do we?
parenting, the father take the back
Yeah.
seat most of the time.
So now, and now look at, we have a lot of people that are educated, but yet they have made it look as such that the only person that is responsible for parenting these children is just the mothers alone. So even for us as mothers, we are even doing ourselves a disservice, because how can we be having a conference like this? We didn't, even if our husbands, our partners, our spouses are not with us as at the time that we are watching it, we could have shared the link. We could have shared the link to this conversation, because it's a learning process for both people. Both partners are involved in training the child. I know for some people, it might not be both parents that are involved, maybe just their husbands, the wife, maybe single parenting, either from the man or the woman. However the case might be. I remember the story of Osas Igodalo. You can see her. She's not with her husband anymore. But whenever they are having anything that concerns the child, you will see both parties coming together, because they understand the depth. They understand that parenting on a uniform page is very key to the building up of the child. Now, we don't have fathers here, but I would also like us to still carry this message out there, because I remember that my dad was always working. Has anybody ever said working is wrong? It's not wrong. My dad just played the role of a provider and a disciplinarian. And I know that some mothers, even up till now, we are still setting up our husbands to have only that role, to have that presentation to our children, that the only thing they can see their father as is a disciplinarian. See, you must collectively carry your husband together and present a common front when you are raising your children. So then I go back to my story. My mom will always tell us that she was going to report us to her dad. And as such, do you know the fear? The fear was so much that when we are anywhere within the compound, we are not doing what we are supposed to do. By the time we hear that our dad is around, my siblings and I mean now, everybody will take position, faking it, pretending it, showing a face that is not true. Showing a face that is not true, and we all disappear like that. I know that in some home, the story is still like that. We are not saying that the father or there shouldn't be discipline, but you know, this traditional belief, this masculinity that we have believed that a man must be an object of fear, that is the representation in the house, is not the very best. And while we're growing up like that, we're always very scared, and at every point in time, we always disappeared and pretend as though we're doing what was right while we're not doing it. Even though at the end of the day, my mom will still take the position in discipline us. There are aspects of their training that I love so much. Whatever you do in the course of the day, my mom will never discipline you in public. She will make sure that it's until in the middle of the night that she will give you the discipline of your life, which is something that I would not even recommend. I see it as an extreme. Imagine you are sleeping in the middle of the night and somebody is coming with the rod to really flog you for a mishap that you have done in the afternoon. Even in the course of discipline us, she will not even tell us that, because of that thing, you are the one that will be remembering that it must have been the misbehavior of the afternoon that is making my mom to beat me. So as a parent today, I want to tell us that, see, in whatever it is that we're doing and raising our children, we must have a strong connection with these children. And even if you have to correct them, let's say you wanted to take a step like what my mom was doing, she didn't want to embarrass us in our own case in the public. Make sure that your child knows the exact reason why you are doing that you're doing to them. Do you know that? And unfortunately, at my childhood, when we're still very young, I was not even a teenager. I think I lost my mom when I was 13. So I'm moving to the second phase of my life now, because that now dominated, shaped my growing up and led me to what eventually happened. By the time I was 13 and my mom was late, my dad took over. Remember, I'm coming from a background whereby the only time that you get discipline or you have a conversation is when you have done something that is wrong. That is when you are being seated and you get punished for what it is that you have done. Now, when my mom died, my dad took over, and my dad refused to remarry. He said he wasn't going to remarry. So my dad was parenting by himself as a widower, parenting us and raising us. One of the things that never happened, my dad was a provider. My dad provided everything we ever needed. And as such, we weren't allowed to go out. You are not permitted to go out. If you ever go and tell my dad that you want to go out, my dad will ask you, where are you going to? And you tell my dad, you want to go and see your friend. And he will tell you, why do you want to go and see your friend? Is your friend having a party? What is that special reason? So you have to think of a special case, of a special event that you want to go out. And of course, as children, There was never a reason why we wanted to go out. And one thing that I've learned there is that, see, when we have relationship with our children, they will open up to us and tell us the truth. That time that my daddy was always asking, I heard real worry picking talking about people leaving school and going somewhere else. Do you know that I would have been victims of different kinds of terrible events? Because even while I was in school, I had clothes in my bag. I was not in a public school. I was going to a private school. I had clothes in my bag. And sometimes on our way, my father was parenting based on his knowledge, based on the things that he knows. He just felt that if he makes provision for everything that we need, then he has done the bulk of the job. Would we blame him? Because then how many of this kind of academy do we have where people can come together, share their experiences, where we are being led? We didn't have any. So people were parenting based on their own knowledge. And we are saying that you cannot parent based on your own knowledge alone. There are things you need. If you are a part of a community, there are experiences that will be shared. There are insight. There are things that some other people are viewing in a particular way that you might not see. But if you are part of the academy, like the Visionary Parent Academy, it will bring your consciousness out. You will become aware that, look, I cannot just sit back and feel that parenting by chance. That's the word. You can't parent your children by chance. And as at the time that I was growing up by chance, because I didn't even feel that, I just felt it was part of, when you are growing up, you just be like, there are some experiences that you have when you are growing up. So I always feel, okay, this is an experience. Okay, with my friends and I. Did you know that my school was in Ikeja and I had gone as far as Badagry when my immediate elder sister was went when she finished secondary school and she went to make her hair in Agege. Agege is a part of Lagos State. And she came back home and my daddy saw the braids on her. And my daddy was asking her, when did you go out? When did you get these braids done on you? And my daddy was like, when she mentioned to my dad that she went to Agege, then when Ilupeju, then my daddy was like, you mean you went from Ilupeju to Agege? And he was saying it in Yoruba that he was lost in Agege. Meanwhile, as at the time that he was saying that, I have gone as far as going to Badagry with friends. Do you know that I could have been a victim? I could have been sold into prostitution. I could have been used for rituals. Why? Because back then at home, there was nobody sitting me down. And I want to encourage us as parents. Our children are never too young to share experiences with them. There is a phrase that we always like to use at the Visionary Parenting Academy. We always say that you find an age-appropriate way to pass an information to your children. Imagine I lost my mom at 13, and even as at that age, I didn't have any form of any other training apart from discipline. And when my mom passed, my dad was not even given any other form of training as regards, sex education. I like the fact that we have some fathers that today, I saw a video that was shared on Facebook about the father that was hyping the daughter. I appreciate the fact that we have fathers that are rising up, because you are not just a father because you are a provider. You are a father because by nature, God has placed you in a position of authority, in a position of protection for your children, for your wife, for your family. Do you understand? Because if you are just a provider as a father, you are just like a tree, a tree that is a shade, but does not have any fruit. And that was what was happening. And we were just growing up. My dad, the routine was like, you go to school, you come back, you go to school, you come back, whatever happened, like we try to engage at the Visionary Academy, saying that when your children go to school, they come back, ask them about their day. Ask them what happened What happened? What were your experiences in school today? We didn't get any of that. And as a result, we're going and we're moving on. And I felt that, oh my God, I can actually go further into this, because I actually have friends. Guess what? We even then, thank God that then the world was not as porous as we have it then. We will even be going to school, and you are walking on the road and a car sees you and the man stops and is willing to pick you. And we always felt it was harmless. I have friends that they feel, yeah, it's harmless, let's just go. They will just drop us at where we're going. Can you imagine what would have happened if something terrible could have just happened? So today, I'm just telling my own story, because it's a deep part of me that I've carried for a long time, to say that, look, as a mom, you must make sure that your father, your husband, or the father is not seen as an object of discipline alone. Don't set the men up for their children to be afraid of them. Imagine if my dad had a cordial relationship with us. Maybe some of these experiences, I would have just mentioned it to him that, Daddy, I'm confused about this. Create an enabling environment for your children to engage with you. Make sure that whatever it is that you are learning, you carry your partner along. Create a common front in parenting these children, because in the end, nobody ever prays for anything terrible to happen. But imagine, as the case with my mom has happened, and I didn't have a foreknowledge, and I was journeying in my life. I was going on and on until I finished secondary school, and I met, today, to the glory of God, is my husband. I got pregnant. I was supposed to be engaging in something else. And the sad thing about it was that I was in school, and my dad, we always ask, oh, why have you to come on? We have not seen you in a while. And I always come up with stories. So we are saying, you have to go all out there. You have to be involved. You have to know your children. You have to suspect. Just go into them without, and just give them a surprise visit. You can never tell what you will find. Do you know that as a result of that, when I was pregnant, eventually when I came back home, I was 4 months gone. I was going about in the house, and my dad didn't just have a clue that I was pregnant. Now, I'm sharing my story today because it's not by divine, it's a divine intervention that I can sit here, because my boyfriend then could have just decided that I'm not going to accept this pregnancy and engage me, because I was so naive. I didn't have any experience. So don't let us raise our children today. Don't let us raise naive children. Give your children the appropriate information that is needed for their age at every point in time. Equip your children with the information. I remember that when I have my own children now, I always tell them, I almost got caught up with the way my father raised us, by always wanting to lock up my children the same way I was being always locked up, because we're not permitted to go out. You cannot go out. And if you have to go out, it must be for something. You must be able to convince my dad, because he will ask you, is your friend having a party? If your friend is not having a party, so why are you going there? It must be that you are a thief. That is the only thing. So he always wanted a situation whereby we were indoor, and we're only indoor without any knowledge, without any training. So I'm saying now that even though we have so many people talking about parenting today, we still have fathers that are still assuming only the position of a disciplinarian. And I'm saying it's not the best. And I'm encouraging us that whatever it is that we do, we must parent on the same page. I almost got up raising my children the same way I was raised, because I always lock them. I will always say, no, you are not going out to play. What do you want to go and do there? And I know that a lot of parents are still engaging in such.
Thank you. Oh, she's out. Coach Odegbami, can you see me? Thank you so much, ma. I hope you are taking your notes. Some of the notes I have taken so far. First of all, that restriction, like I've shared a couple of times that many parents, they think that they are raising a jebo, they lock their children inside. They don't want their children to mix with other people. Their children don't go out, their children don't play. In my neighborhood here, we have some children down the street, and they come to play with my children, and neighbors feel, why would I allow my children to play with those kind of children, especially with the kind of children. Hey, I'm always wondering, like, those children will grow up, your children will grow up. If your children don't know how to mix with those kind of children today, how will they know how to mix with certain category of people? Restriction. She said something, why her dad was wondering how her sister went to Agege from Ilupeju. She had gone to Badagry. Really? Yesterday, Coach Ellen said something, that there is never a time you can be fully abreast of the challenges your child is going through. What you can do is to constantly empower them, equip them, upskill them. Like, so the father was saying, you went to Agege. So I don't know the distance between Agege and Ilupeju, but I can just imagine it's not such a long distance compared to Badagry, which I know is at the outskirts of Lagos. Shebi is in another state, almost another state, another country sef. Okay, I noted that. I also noted fear, the fact that no connection, because even when the mom was alive, no connection. So the father had not built that connection, because the father was seen as an object of fear, like discipline. If you do anything, I'll tell your dad. And the dad is the horsewhip man. Many families still do that today. I will tell your dad. The only time the dad interfaces with the children or have a conversation with the children, apart from sending the child on an errand, it is when the child wants to discipline the role of the child. And one thing again that actually that I just got from when she was talking was her mom passed. If her mom had not passed, probably she wouldn't have gotten pregnant when she did. Her mom would have maybe been there to guide or something. Her mom passed. Now, as much as we want to say, God forbid, even me, I'm always afraid to talk about this when I'm talking about teach your children now. Don't wait for any time. Don't say, I want to wait for my children at a particular age. They are too young. I will always have time. What if you don't have the time? What if you are no longer there? I'm always afraid to say this out. In my mind, I'll say, God forbid, God forbid. But it is the truth. It is the truth. Something can happen tomorrow, God forbid. So have you prepared your children enough? Will they be able to on their own? Yes, as we say, God forbid, we also realize that if it happens, if that is the will of God, there is nothing you can do about it. And if you cannot do something about it, your children that you are leaving behind, the children that you are leaving behind, you wouldn't want them to suffer. You wouldn't want things to happen to them, because it is bad enough that you have left them behind. It will even be badder, it will be worse if you leave them behind unprepared. So while we say God forbid, we should put our best foot forward now. I got that from the message. I got that from this message. Teach, do all you can, build connection and teach, so that if it is the will of God, your children are well prepared. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Coach, I was also going to say that, look, there is nothing like my child is still young. I want to emphasize on that. As early as 14, I remember that I would wake up, even though when my mom was alive, she was the one doing everything. When I say everything, my mom was so nice to the point that even my dad's friend that was having issue in his marriage used to bring his clothes to my mom, and my mom would do his laundry for him. So I had that kind of a mother that when I was growing up, my mom was everywhere doing everything for us. The only thing I remember of my older siblings doing was that they were responsible for going out there, to go and get water. Where we're first living, we had water issues, so they were the ones. But for the younger ones, it was just for us to be doing little things in the house. And guess what happened? When my mom passed, I like I said, I was just in JSS1. I was going to GS2. Then I was in the boarding house. Then we came back home to Lagos because she had passed. So we are all now day students. I remember that I was the one that would wake up at 5 o'clock. I will wash my clothes. I'll wake up at 5 o'clock. I'll prepare my school food because I was taking food. I'll prepare my school food by myself because the first three older siblings that I have, they were in school while we were in secondary school. Now me go prepare the food where I go chop. When I come back from school, there's nothing like my mom is at home. She would have prepared dinner or lunch or whatever it is I'm going to eat when I come back. It's when I get back from school, I prepare my food myself. I wash my uniform. I do my assignment myself. Of course, my dad has gone to work. He needed to work. So I'm saying now that when my mom was alive, she thought that we couldn't or we cannot do it. And she was taking all of these things. She was doing all of it by herself. And which is something that I have learned in myself. When I became a mom, I said, I am not going to parent this way. So for those of us that we are still saying our children are still small and we put all of the burden, all of the stress upon ourselves. When my mom passed, I was able to. I will wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, get myself. Nobody comes to wake me up. Nobody comes to wake my other siblings up. We'll wake up by ourselves, prepare ourselves for school, prepare the food we are going to take to school, because I have always loved to cook anyway. So I was preparing food. I remember my experience when we came back to Lagos, in Ilupeju then, the nearest market to us was the Oshodi market, gave me a list and told me that go to the market, go and get this thing. That was the first experience after my mom passed. And after that, we were never allowed to go and buy anything by ourselves again. Then my dad started ordering food from Shadon. There's this restaurant there where they sell calabar soup and all of that. He used to order those things. He brings them into the house. But what I also want parents to learn this night is that when my mom was alive, she felt that we cannot do it. And she put all of those things upon herself. She was doing it, even extending it to my dad's friend. So I'm encouraging parents today that you look, no matter how small, don't ever think if anything happened, God forbid, like we say, these children will still survive. So how are we teaching them to navigate this world? Even when we are around, when they are out there, when they are, maybe they've gone to university, they've gone to secondary school, they are in the boarding house, or they find themselves anywhere. How are we equipping them to be able to navigate this world? It's a dog eats dog out there. Reality is out there. So like real Oruebor was saying that you have to teach your children street smartness. You have to teach them that, look, you must be able to stand up and take responsibility, no matter how little. Even for that your 2-year-old, those things that they can do by themselves, like picking up things around the house, let them do it. Don't let us raise children that they become a liability unto us as they're growing up. Because once they are not trained from small, people that are irresponsible today, it didn't come upon them in adulthood now. It's from small. It's from small because they were not allowed to do it. Then they grew up, they got used to it. People that they don't have empathy, people that are not sensitive today, it didn't just jump upon them. It's from small. It started building up, and until getting to a point that they cannot do anything. And we went like that. Eventually, my dad got to know that I was pregnant, and in fact, he was so shocked. He didn't believe it, because at the time that he was coming to the knowledge of that I was pregnant, I was already 5 months gone. How are we checking up our children? Are they talking to them? Are we really taking a second look? I can't even remember ever having eye contact with my dad. Am I saying that my dad was a bad father? No, he wasn't. But I'm saying that for him, he just wanted to see sure that he was a provider. And today, I can sit down and tell you that it's not enough for us to be a provider as parents, either as a mom or as a father. Is beyond being a provider, because the authority that God has given us as parents is very heavy, and we cannot just now sit back. Even God, that is our father, we can see that is playing every role. Look at what happened in the Garden of Eden. When he was there, he didn't only put man there. When men were when he created Adam and he was there, he would still come down in the cool of the day to have a conversation with them. Why did that? Have we ever thought that? Why did God have to come down and have conversation with human? He can be up there and be seeing everything we are doing, and he can be talking to us from there. God was trying to teach us a lesson that there is a need for connection. There is a need for us to have contact. When we say contact, we mean deep contact with our children. Let them know that we feel them. Let us validate their emotion. Let us validate whatever it is that they are feeling. Let them be free, because the friend that they have out there does not know any better. I got to learn that I must have, there's nothing my children cannot discuss with us as their parent. And I'm not even kidding. I remember my first son when he was in GS3. I was trying to get something sorted in the house, and I observed that he kept going around. When somebody is pacing, I was backing him, but I was conscious to the fact that I know that he kept going in of my room, coming back. He was going in, he was coming back. And I had to leave what I was doing. There's another thing that we must do as parents. Whenever we see our children in certain mood, whatever it is that we are doing, we need to drop it. We need to drop that thing. I see a lot of, even sometimes I might even be guilty of it, but when I realize that, look, it looks like my child is being bothered, I drop whatever. Now we are in the era of social media. A lot of parents are distracted. Even some parents, do you know, they are as distracted as that? Even when their children are going to school, maybe they are doing one thing or the other on their phone. They are not even aware of maybe the way their children are dressed, what they are taking to school, because there are so many distractions. There are so many things that is taking up the minds of parents. And do you know what happened? I was going about in the house, and I noticed my son was moving about. So I had to stop what I was doing. And I said, is there a problem? And he said, yes, he wanted to discuss something with me. I sat him down. So I got to learn to always listen to my children, because it was something I didn't have as a child. I wish we had such an opportunity. I wish I didn't see my father as a terror, as an object of fear. It wasn't as if he didn't care about us. He made provision for everything that we needed. But beyond that, probably it was even one of those things, that drawn me early in my life to seek attention. When you have a boyfriend, because you are new to your boyfriend, he's always there for you. He always wants to listen to you. He always wants to hear that pain. So it was very easy for me to have, gotten involved at a very early age. And I sat down with my son and I asked him, I said, what is it? And he was able to share with me that, Mommy, there's a girl that walked up to me and told me that I like you. A girl told him he liked him, and she was going on and on. And I asked him, who did you discuss this with? And he said he told one of his friends. And fortunately for him, and fortunately for me too, the friend was a good friend. So the friend said, let's go and report to a teacher. Are we creating an environment? Imagine if that friend was not a good friend that would have given him advice that let's go and report to a teacher. Imagine if you had given me another advice, and if you cannot come home to talk to me, then I had to take it a step further beyond that. And I told him, look, for a girl to have boldness to tell you all of these things, it shows where the girl is coming from. Now, let me teach you some of the things that you must never do. Never be caught in a lonely environment or in the school corner or wherever that you don't have other people with this girl, because if she tries anything and you object to it, what is going to happen? People are going to align with her story because she's female, and they will think you are trying to take advantage of her. So I got to always learn from growing up, and when I had my son, that I am going to give listening ear to my child. My child will be comfortable to tell me anything. In fact, I remember another story of my son when they had truth or dare. Imagine in secondary school, they were playing truth or dare in the school. And he sat down there in their midst. The people, and they were saying, oh, I dare you to. And they went as far as pressing. This is a private school, not public school. For us to understand that all of this thing is not exclusive to public school alone. And they were saying they were playing out all of these things that they were doing in truth or dare. You will ask yourself, secondary school, even as at that time, where did they learn truth or dare? Where did they see it? So many children have access to different kinds of information. So if we are there, we are parenting, and we are trying to become like a boss in the house, like a Shango, that our children cannot access us. We are not doing any other person. We are only doing ourselves a disservice, because when it comes to critical matter, when they need to reach out to us, when they need help, instead of them reaching out to their friend that doesn't know any better than them, they will be comfortable in coming to talk to us. Do you know that when after they were caught by a teacher?
Okay, I think network. I think she's having network issues. If you can still hear me, please let me know. If you can still hear me, the world doesn't see your child as young, not the world. My my daughter was asking me, she was listening when Worry Mom was speaking, and she was asking me, Mommy, what did she mean by Nigeria is a risk community, is a high risk community? Yes, it's a high risk place. The world doesn't see your child as too young. They don't care. Now, there's something again she mentioned. I wrote down this question. I wanted to ask her. I wanted to ask her the question like, what would she say? If you can hear me, please write it in the comments so that I will know you can still hear me, because she's out and I hope she comes back. Network issues. I was going to ask her that, okay, let's go back to the early pregnancy issue. So what would you say was primarily responsible? Would you say it was peer pressure, hormones, curiosity? I've written out the question I was going to ask her. Fortunately, she answered the question. It was one of the reasons was that being that she lacked attention at home, then it was easy for her to tilt towards the boyfriend, and we all know how these things work. We know how these things work. We see videos on Facebook every now and then. You say, oh, 1 day married, 2 days married, 3 days married, 10 days married, or 10 years married. Yes, we know how those things work. So it was easy for her to tilt towards the boyfriend, to rely on him, for him to be her shoulders, because she was lacking that at home. Like I always say, if you do not meet your child's love needs, because we are human beings that we desire love. Everyone desires love and attention. Everyone desires to be noticed. Everyone desires to be important. We know this, and you talk about it in the Visionary Parents Academy a great deal. So if our children lack those things at home, they don't have them, there is every tendency that they are going to seek it outside. So my question was, I was going to ask her, okay, what would you say was the major factor? Peer pressure, curiosity, hormones? And she answered it. Probably the attention she wasn't getting at home. She was getting it from someone. Okay, thank you so much. My network threw you out. I'm glad you are back.
Thank you. So I was just to buttress what you're saying. And aside from that, see, the circle, I heard real mom saying that it is very important for you to know your friends. I mean, your children's friends. That thing is very, very important. See, there are some things that you will find out now that I'm a parent. With my husband, my children's friends are allowed to come to the house anytime. do you know that in the course of my children's friend coming to pay visit to us in the house, we realized we got some vital information that we thought that after the friend left, we now sat down our children and now told them that, look, if your friend is having this kind of mindset, you need to be conscious, you need to be aware. Now, when you don't create an enabling environment for their friend to even come, they only just go to school, they come back, maybe they engage with their friend outside. How can you teach? What are those things that you can observe? Do you know that these our children, like Rimo was saying that you must learn to pretend. Our children, they can pretend 100 times more than anything that we can imagine in this world, including the ones that we are intentionally raising. But do you know that there are some information that will come out by the fact of their friends coming over in the course of their engagement? When they are talking, you will be able to pick out things that maybe you didn't notice before, but as a result of their conversation, then you will now take that, you will note it down. You are not going to use it to against your children. You are getting those points so that you can use it to build up your own child. And remember that they are their children. Me, I have had to correct my children's friend. Like I shared an experience. My son's friend came to the house one day and he was banging on the door. Bang, 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 bang. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And you know what he told me? He told me that that is the way we knock in their, that's the way they knock on the door in their house. Do you know why he was doing that? His mom is a military woman. So whenever she comes back, when she wants, she doesn't knock because of her profession by nature. You know the way military people are. She will just be banging. Now, the mother does not even see anything wrong in what she's doing. See, the boy came to my house and repeated the same thing. So what did I do? I had to sit him down. I asked him, it's very, it's not proper. You can't be knocking on people's door that way. And in the course of the engagement, because of where it's coming from, I was able to help them because it's my son's friend. At the end of the day, his way of life is still going to rub off on my children. And that's why we are saying, when we are saying community parenting, it is putting things right for these children. You observe something in their friend, don't say that one na your own. You will come back home and teach your children. Tomorrow, your child is going out there to still go and mingle with them. So what are you doing? You are putting a clean clothes on a dirty body because it's still going to rub off on your child. They spend a lot of time out there also. So encourage your friends, your children's friends to come home. Know them. Know their parents too. When you have all of this information, it guides you, it helps you. I had friends that didn't mind. I helped her sister because her sister was so grown. They had a lot of age gap. She was already in the university while we were in secondary school. So she will always come and share their escapades when they go out. And when she comes to school, she's sharing these experiences with us that if because of their going, somebody stopped and took them and dropped them at their destination. I didn't have anybody telling me any of those stories in the house, whether it was wrong or it was out. But when I'm in school, I'm hearing this kind of story. And she's my friend. And what happened? The next time we are walking together on the street, a car stopped. Did I even know whether it's a wrong thing or it's the right thing to do? I just follow. So I was doing that by association. And which is what our children do a lot of time. They get into a lot of things that they shouldn't get into by association. So now, as a parent, I know very well that I must create an enabling environment. I was sharing the story of my son. Do you know that after they have been disciplined, my son still came back home and told me that, Mom, this was what happened in school. And this was the name of the teacher that disciplined us. And because I have the teacher's number, I told him that he should have beaten him, that I should have seen the mark, then, or not like now that they are saying that children are not allowed to be beaten again in secondary school. Then it was still permitted. I said that I would have even brought a cane because even now that I'm there, even though he didn't participate, for the mere fact that you did not leave that place, or for the mere fact that you didn't go and report, And you know, these days when they are doing things that are wrong, and you have a child that knows that this thing is wrong and wants to live there, he didn't live there, because if he had left, they would have called him a snitch. So he still wants to belong. He didn't participate, but he was an observer. So as an observer in a crime, you are also an accomplice. And which was why the teacher disciplined him. And I told him that you would have given him more. But there was something that the teacher didn't believe. The teacher had to call me that, Ma, did another teacher tell me about this thing? I told him no, that my son told me. The teacher never believed. It was like, how was it convenient for a child to be in a group of where they were doing something wrong? He was disciplined and he still came home. Did I have this knowledge by myself? Did I build up my mind, my soul, that it was because of my own experience. So I'm saying to us today that as parents, we are here to share this experience together so that we can do better. Look, everything does not have to happen to a human being before they will learn. That is why this conference was being put together, so that we can all learn from our story. It's not as if we are letting down your authority as a parent. There's something that I learned about the rabbit. You know, the rabbit, they are predator animals. When they are always afraid when they see anything that is standing bigger than them, because my children had rabbit as pets before. So at every point in time, they always want something that will be at their level, so that they don't feel that, this is a predator that has come to attack us. That is the way we should be to our children. We shouldn't always they shouldn't always see us as somebody that is coming to attack them every time. They must see us as their friend. Now, being a friend to your children does not mean that you now become a permissive parent. That is where you must be able to set the boundary. They must understand that, at this point in time, this is my limit. When I'm having a conversation, even though we are free, I'm friends with my mom, I must know where to break the line and know that this is what is permitted and this is what I shouldn't do. Now, I put all of my experience together at every point. There are so many parts of it. In fact, even to my siblings, they also had their struggling part. My father was into partnership business, and whenever he had anything to do, he wasn't communicating all of his ideas, all of the...
Oh, network has changed.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, we can.
My father was into partnership. See, it only didn't affect me. He affected every one of my siblings. Remember, I said we were 7. Every one of us have a way that we're all affected. Look, in the aspect of business, my dad never said anything to anybody. And this was for somebody that was into partnership business. And he would just come home and he would just act like everything was okay. But there was something that stood out for my dad that I learned, and which is something that we also encourage in visionary parents. It's called journaling, writing down every single thing that ever happened to my dad was documented. Let me tell you a funny thing that even happened. Do you know, when I was pregnant and after 5 months that I was living with my dad, I didn't know that I was pregnant. When my husband, my boyfriend, when his people now came to the house and they now said that we were going to get married at a certain time, do you know that the marriage didn't hold? I didn't get married to my husband 5 years after I had my first child. Which is why I said we cannot live our parenting by chance. Everything that happened to me, it was just by divine intervention. But that might not be the story for everybody, which is why we must equip our children. I said I didn't get married to my husband until my son was 5 years old. Do you know the time when I was still pregnant, we were supposed to get married? My daddy documented it. He wrote it down. And I'm saying that as parents, that's something that we must also do. We must learn to journal. We must learn to journal. We must learn to write things down. Do you know, after my dad passed, when it was close to him dying, he started sharing, started talking to my brother, started sitting them down, started taking them to the office and saying that, look, this is what I do, this is what I'm into, this. But the time was so short and he couldn't meet up with most of the thing he was supposed to. Do you know that in fact, we were sidelined with something. We lost some vital information. But what helped us was that my daddy had a document for everything that transpired in his business with his partners. So I'm not talking about even in the aspect, in every area of our life, in everything that we do, we must ensure that we carry our children along, especially when they have come to the age of consciousness, when they are aware of themselves. Information that are appropriate. There are so many people that they have money, they have property, they have things in some places that nobody in their family knows. All in the name of what? What are you hiding? What are you keeping? Share, discuss, be open, especially with your children. Give out information that are appropriate for every stage of their life. Because for every stage a child is, there is an information that is needed. It's not only for that we are providing, but for the growth of the child, for the child to be able to even stand and defend the family. Tell stories, tell your children about their background. I have so many stories. My name is the other name that I'm being called is Eniton. I know why I am being called Eniton. Let us share, let us tell them stories about their birth, information that is vital for their growth. And I believe that it will help us in our journey. Our children will be able to take decisions. We will not have children that in their entire life, they are totally dependent on us. They cannot take decisions. They cannot do anything unless we act, unless we give an idea, or we are trying to raise a total child. Please, I have shared my
Thank
story
you.
today, not because it's so convenient, but because I know that it will impact life. It will make a difference in the life of people. There are little things that we always feel that these things don't matter. But I tell you, every information is important in parenting.
Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much, Ma. So, if you have any questions, please start dropping your questions. There's an information for every, of course, Ma. Coach Angela said there's an information. There's a way you can pass every information. I always say to parents, see, no topic should be so heavy for you to talk to your children about. For every single topic, there is a way that we pass it to your children. No topic,
Absolutely.
for me in my home, no topic is too heavy. It's just that there is a way. My children know about everything that there is, that every information I know. The ones I don't know on the go, I'm writing it. Even sometimes I'm dating, I'm doing things not only for the Visionary Parents Academy. Something pops into my mind, I'm ready to share it with my children. Look for a way to tell them, like Coach and Coach Mommy Worry Mom said we should. Okay, it was Coach Helen that said yesterday that we should debrief for our children every day. And I forgot to mention that is something we already do in the Visionary Parents Academy now. Every day we'll have catch up. You ask your children how their day went, you understand. Coach Mommy Worry Mom also said we should no bother to know about the children. Yes, the name of our children's schoolmates and all of that. When my children were in Lagos, they were about 15 or 18 in the class. Maximum of 18. They were 15, always 15. I knew everybody because they knew everybody. So I knew everybody. So, but now that my children are in a more populated school, sometimes they don't even, and they are just struggling to get used to. So I just know their little circle, know their friends, and know some people that are kind of troublesome they keep talking about in class. So yes, it's important for us to have these basic things, not these things about our children. These are some of the ways we are present in their lives. These are some of the ways we connect with them, apart from just providing. Coach, thank you very much. I want to ask a kind of a question. Actually wanted to ask the question before, but you answered it passively, I would say. But I still want to ask the question again, so that I don't assume and you answer it for us. What would you say that what particularly would you say that led to your um, pregnancy early when you were not prepared for it? What would you say? Talking about, oh, all my friends were having it, was not a big deal. So I thought about it. Talk about, okay, then my hormones were raging, I didn't know how to handle it. Talk about what particularly would you say, okay, let's what particularly would you say was it about? Can we
Okay,
blame
so
it on? What should take the blame?
I, the question can be viewed from different perspectives. For example, now, I in my own case, I will first of all say that I didn't have any background knowledge as regards sex education, involvement with voice, engagement with in a relationship, or to what point, to what extent, it wasn't like I didn't, there was nobody that was teaching, even when my mom was alive. There was nobody, there was no information, there was nothing that was passed. So in my own case, I would say that one of the reasons was that I was so naive to the point that I just felt that, okay, it's harmless, it's engaging. Whether I am a Christian, I grew up in a Christian home, I know that when we're growing up, we're always going to church, and they will always say that thou shall not commit fornication, thou shall not do all of these things. But there is something that I've come to realize beyond them even teaching, the place of the parents. You see, us as the parents, we can sit down with our children and really, really, really teach by example. Like, for example, I remember when we go to church, you are only taught that thou shalt not communicate, thou shalt not fornicate. And it doesn't go beyond that. Because we can share with our children, we can share with our children. Do you know that a lot of things could have happened in the course of the engagement, because I was very naive, no information. So I want to say that I will look at my case from the home. Maybe, maybe if I had had a foreknowledge, it would probably have been like a guide for me. Then, association. There is a way that some people, I remember even when we leave school sometimes and I go to my friend's place and her sister was around from school with her friend, you will be hearing case of her elder sister. The friend will be saying that, do you know that I went to go and meet that boy? I told him that I like you and I just want to sleep with you. I was exposed to such conversation even as from secondary school. The friends will be having, and I know that we talk about this, you have mentioned this, that we are going to have this conversation in Visionary Parent Academy, that if the age gap between your children, the siblings, if the age gap is much, they need to watch the kind of conversation that those ones that are younger to them are hearing, because Bible says faith cometh by hearing. So what are you
Yeah.
hearing? So now I was exposed to that. In fact, one of them, in fact, now I'm saying, she was so shameless that she was saying that when the boyfriend was like, don't worry, I'll go and tell everybody that I'll slept with you. Do you know what she said? Because, they always say it's in broken, she'll be like, you sleep with me, I sleep with you. Waiting with the shame there. If you no shy, say you sleep with me. Why me go shy? Say I sleep with you. So for me, it was not having information from home and the association.
Thank you. Thank you. And plus the fact that your husband now came to fill in that vacuum, that maybe that attention you were not getting from home and
Absolutely.
all of that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, would you say if your mom was still alive, you probably would have gone that route if she was around, if she was alive, would there have been any difference?
Well, I'm thinking that if my mom was alive, probably, because I want to think that why we were not engaged in that kind of conversation. Still go back to the statement of me saying that we always assume that there is a child has to get to a certain age before we disclose some information. But now I want to disagree. I remember when I was teaching sex education to my younger son, even when my first son was younger, I always tell them that, look, the toys that you have, this was the example I always use for them. I said, the toys that you have, that you are playing with, are they living things? So I put the question to them, and I get their response. I don't answer the question for them. I always tell them that are they living things? And they will tell me, no, they are not living things. Then I said, so those are the kind of things that you can play with. But you see, a girl, a boy is a living being. So every part of their body, their breast, their private part, even your own private part, is not toy to anybody. So you shouldn't allow anybody play with your own penis. You shouldn't allow anybody play. You also must not see a girl that is a living being because she's not a toy and now feel that you should play with part of her body like the breast and other parts of her body. So, but so I told my son at less than 10, I was using his toy as a scenario to carry out something that I wanted him to know that, look, a girl, no matter how young she is a living being. So part of her body are not things that you can play with. The things that you can play with are toys and they are not living beings. That is why you can play with them. You can do anything you want to them. So I felt that probably if my mom was alive, maybe the story would have been different. Maybe she would have now waited till a certain age, because I remember there was always an encounter between her and our firstborn then, that every night, in the middle of the night, she was always beaten. And as we were growing up, we were relating with the fact that she was beating her because she was getting involved with boys, maybe talking with them, or probably she got to know whether they were dating or whatever. So I will say that maybe my mom wanted to wait to a certain age, but nature did not permit that to happen. Yeah. So maybe the story would have been different.
My question is, I get it. Now my next question is this. It's funny though, but I think you have answered it. You've answered it, because I was going to say that you had siblings, female siblings too. So if you want to say, and it was training, you didn't have the training, that was why, that was one of the reasons. I wanted to ask, but you have female siblings too. So they too didn't have training different from what you had. How come they were not pregnant early? And I said, and your second response, which was association. Yes, they are. So, and I shared that in the Visionary Parent Academy, my voice on yesterday also. I said some people are lucky. Was it my Facebook Live? I don't remember. I know I shared it recently. I said for some parents, you are lucky that your children, they are not in a porous environment. They are not in a porous space. They don't have that negative association. So that is why you are getting away with your nonchalance. So you may just feel, what I am doing is giving me results. What I am doing is giving me results. It may not be giving you results. You may just be lucky because of the environment, because of the space you are. Like I was sharing, I said my dad was very strict growing up, to the extent that people in my neighborhood could blackmail us. They could tell us things like, I will report to your dad, and we'll be scared. Now imagine if we had an abuser in our neighborhood. All they needed to do was to say, if you don't come to my house, if you don't let me take advantage of you, I am going to report to your dad. And we probably would have obliged them. But fortunately for us, we didn't have abusers, or those kind of things were not what we had in our neighborhood then. That was the luck we had. So I was going to say that, and she has answered it, because I know that is always a thing. Oh, you have 6 other siblings, you have 7 siblings, you have maybe 3 sisters or 4 sisters. How come you were the only one that got pregnant? You were not the only one that was trained the same way. And association has cleared that. So what was my second question?
I want to quickly ask something, Coach. See, and I just want to tell Mom, because I know that most of us here today now, we are by ourselves. See, let us just stop something already. Let us stop an habit of always saying you can discipline the child. Stop setting the fathers up. And because of this, you can see we are trying to change the narrative. I know that some parents, they do it, especially single mom. I'm sorry, they deliberately set up the children against their fathers. And at the end of the day, you will see that when they are grown, children only want to associate, children only want to take care of their children. Children only want to take care of their parents, of their mom. They want to leave their dad. It's a very wrong
Mother.
neighbor or neighbor. The husband was irresponsible, but the woman still. I'm talking about maybe as a result of finance or whatever. They are unable to meet up, maybe the economy, their job, and God has not played. And you will find mothers setting up the children, like always saying that your father that cannot. No, don't ever do that, because a father is a father by God's divine their fathers divinely. So whether the father can make provision, whether the father cannot make provision, I'm not trying to give excuse for fathers that they shouldn't make provision, but I'm saying that don't ever set up your children against their fathers. Let them, and don't. Another thing that we do as parents is that we only make our fathers, their fathers, look like terror to them. We build that fear in them, with even naturally when they even want to connect with the fathers, because of the kind of thought, the mindset, the fear we have created in the children. They don't want to build that connection, and I feel it's very, very unfair.
Yes, I get you very well, Coach Odegbami. Many parents, actually, many mothers especially, actually set their husbands up. However, I also feel that children can see through. The men have a work to do. Many times the moms, how do I call it? Many times the moms set their husbands up. The husbands fall for the setup. The husband can choose not to fall for the setup.
Because
they can go on their own to build. They don't want to do the work. They can go on their own to build connection. They can go on their own to, how do I call it? They can build connection on their own.
Rarely will you ever find fathers going
So that is the thing.
academy where they can relearn, unlearn, and relearn.
Do you know that? That is it. Fathers, they are not doing enough. Maybe we should just host a conference one day for fathers. I never thought about it. Now you bringing this up, and I'm thinking about it. Because, at the end of the day, children actually see through their parents. They know exactly what is happening. Even when the father is not financially able to support, and the mother is trying to rubbish the father, the children, they will grow up to understand, if the father may not have been able to provide, if the father was making efforts, but the effort was unyielding, if the father was trying to make up in other ways, children will see through. Your children always see through. Fathers don't realize that children, at some point, your behavior will make your children lose respect for you, to make your children lose connection with you. My book, Understanding Your Child, I have a practical story I wrote there. Auntie Becky was not a made-up story. Was my auntie. My mom's, I can boldly talk about her now because she's late, her husband is late. So she was my mom's immediate elder sister. Maybe one day I'll give the story in the Visionary Parents Academy, was the mom's immediate elder sister. She was doing one kind of, because, she is a strong-willed, like Coach Karen talked about, dominant personality. And then she now married a man who was extremely, extremely unmotivated, laid-back, phlegmatic. You know, be someone who is driven, tax driven, someone who is naturally tax driven. And you know, in those days, the marriage was like, come and marry my brother, come and marry somebody. So they did not see face to face, they were match made. So that was how she married. So all that bitterness, all that disappointment, she put it on the husband. Even, did you know, in her old age, because when the children were younger, you know, it was okay to say, oh, my father is lazy, my father is this one, because my mom was always talking about this. But when the children were older, when they had senses, they realized it. They literally turned against their mom. Even till today, their mom passed. They did not say why they turned against their mom. But because I have studied human behavior, I see everything. They will call their dad and their mom. It was just like, because you saw us through school, you did all of that. They just owed their mom an obligation of, I am your daughter. But their father was the one they showed concern more. The father that they don't even have money to pay for them. Because eventually they saw everything. So men, they have to come forward. Your children are seeing through you. They are seeing through you. They are seeing it. Forget, it's not what you say by mouth. You can call your children and be telling them, and see this, see that. They are seeing through you. They are not dummies. When they grow older, they will know that you were the bad guy. They will know that the man was the bad guy. They will know that the man was not the responsible one. Then you will now come back and say, why is it that it's only my wife that goes for Mugo? It's only my wife they buy things from. The connection, they were just there in the picture. They were there when they were much younger. They were in your life. They were there because they didn't have a choice. Because you were their father, they were just obliged. But now that they are grown, you don't have that real connection. You did not earn that respect. So men on their own, they have work
can
to
I say
do.
something, coach? Can I say something?
Yes, please.
You
Yes,
see,
please.
that is why I'm saying now that, see, in the time of my own father, they didn't have access to a lot of information. Even though, as we were saying, that in their time, they didn't have access to a lot of information. There were still fathers that still sat their children down and they were intentional about it. Now, what I'm trying to say now is that for us here, even whatever it is that we have, I appreciate some men that are really coming forward and they are really doing the work. The men that are really doing the work and they are taking the role of what a father, the leadership role, a protector,
Oh, network. Okay, I think we are about to wrap up now because we are over 1 minute. Network is playing with her. No, really. Okay, we actually have deviated from our topic. I hope you have learned a lot today. I have written everything down, what I have learned. And hopefully, I was going to ask her the final question, like, if her dad had done a few things differently, what her dad would have done differently that would probably had changed the story. That was the last question. So she can just give us a few things and note the fact that her dad also had his own troubles raising 7 children all by himself now, no wife. And then he had to be the wife, the everything, you know, all those roles we give women, the doctor, the teacher, the everything. And the father had to be all of that, all by himself to 7 young children. And he was not prepared for it. Nothing prepared him. Nothing told him. We know we never pray for something bad to happen. Nothing prepared him for, oh, at some point in your life, your children will, at some point in your marriage.
coach.
Code network through you out again.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know. The network is so bad this time. I was just trying to make a point that, look, so fathers too, they need to come up. Let us, as mom, as parent, let us encourage our partners. If there's any information that you have, share it together, play it, let them see it, let them know. My father didn't have any information, but there are so many information out there. And some men are still not even reaching out to pick this information to help in their parenting. And everybody's still, following the fast-paced world. Everybody is always in a hurry and all of that. There is a place for the father, and there's something that comes with it, especially when they are hearing, when the children, especially your girl child, when they are hearing some certain things from you, it boosts their self-confidence, it boosts their self-esteem, so that no boy will come and tell them. Imagine if a girl has been told severally by her father that she's beautiful. How will another man coming outside telling her that she's beautiful now be new to her, like something she had never heard before?
What's
But
what's the
do you
big deal?
understand? But most of the time, it's being left to the mothers to do. So I think whether we are going to organize fathers conference in the Visionary Parenting Academy.
Maybe we should think about it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I was going to, before, when network threw you out, I was telling them that we are about to wrap up now. But I wanted to ask, my last question I wanted to ask was that you have answered it in the course of the whole thing, really. But I just wanted you to do should I say a summary, or just give us, mention some of the things you felt, okay, if your dad had done right, had put in place, you probably wouldn't have gotten pregnant when you did. Some of those things that you felt your dad needed to have done that were not there, some of those things. And I also was saying that, especially for single parents, because I know that it must have been a lot for your dad, a lot, raising, or just waking up one day and realizing that he had to raise 7 children all by himself. All those things we talk about, mom being the lawyer, being the doctor, being the teacher, being the nurse, and all of that. Your dad was not all of that, all by himself. Not that somebody gave him a notice that, sir, on the 21st of this, you are going to, nobody, all by himself. Then he will still have to go to work and come back. It must have been a lot. It must have been a lot. Like, whoo, it must have been a lot. So,
It is.
just,
It is.
yes, even despite that, we still have single parents, single mom, single dad, and hopefully we have more dad join us to watch this video. What do you think your dad probably would have done differently? Some of the things that he probably would have done differently, and
Okay, so first and foremost, even despite what has happened to me and some of the things that I'm still going to mention that I wish that my dad did differently, I would still like to put it out there that my dad is late now, but I still like to talk about him as if he's in the present. I had the best dad in the entire world. You see, sure, I'm saying it today, and I'm also encouraging fathers that regardless of whatever it is, I wish we had a connection with my dad. I wish we had a strong connection with my dad. I wish my dad was able to sit us down and give us tips on this life, how we could, things that we need to know about the opposite sex, how to navigate the world, how to prepare ourselves. You understand? I said that my dad used to make provision for everything, even as much as we were 5 girls. My dad would buy a pack of sanitary towel. I'm not saying one dozen. He will buy the pack and it will be in the house. And really, if you look at everything that he made provision for, we really didn't have a reason to go out. And today, I'm writing a book. I'm not done with the book. I know that Coach Eminem is always on my case and always telling me that you need to finish up this book. And I titled the book, Control Discipline. Do you know that if my daddy has allowed us, when you lock up a child in the house, the child always feel that there's something special out there. There's something that is special out there that you are trying to guide me from seeing. And the moment the child have an opportunity to step out, the child will do beyond, over and overboard, if you have allowed them to just control their going out. Do you understand? I wish my dad allowed us, to mingle, to have to play, and he will guide us and now say, you must know your boundary. I wish we were taught boundaries. I wish my dad had that conversation. Above all, I just wish that we were not caged up. Do you know that even till now, I always tell my husband, I cannot stay at home from morning till in the night. It's almost like a trauma. I feel choked. I feel I'm being choked. So I don't like to, that's why what we do now, I don't like to do something that will just keep me in a place from morning till night because of how I grew up. We were always indoors. So that experience, I wish we had control discipline. Now you can go out, but when you go out, this is the limit. This is the boundary. So I just want to encourage parents today. I want to encourage fathers. I want to encourage single fathers raising their children, their daughters, their male child. You have to create an enabling environment. You have to balance it. You cannot give your children all access and say, okay, you are free. Just do anything you want. Go out and come back at any time. No. Or box them up in the house and say, you don't have access to, you can't go out. You must come and give me a tangible reason. You know, I just feel that my dad had all of this conversation with us, with myself, my siblings, and all of us. I just wish.
Thank you so much. Everybody, where is your thank you? Where is your thank you? Or is it because Coach Odegbami is part of us where is your thank you? Because she's part of us that you are not giving her thank you. If you don't give her thank you, she will not come to the academy again to teach us, to share with us. So your thank you, bring your thank you, bring your thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Personally, I appreciate you. I do hope that this story, we have learned a lot. One of the things I just noted down now was that when you lock your children up inside too much, they become curious. They want to know, they want to know what is out there, what is out there. And you are locking them up, you are not even empowering them, teaching them skills they don't know. So when you now release them, they go out there, they are going to just do and undo. They are going to go and do what they are not supposed to do because you have locked them up for too long. So please, let your children mix up. We cannot, Coach Ellie yesterday said something, we cannot isolate our children, we can insulate them. We cannot isolate them, you cannot keep them, you cannot cage them. Because human beings are social beings. We are social beings. We need to socialize. She said something when God created Adam. God was always coming down to have communion with Adam. Not just that, God also realized that it's not good for man to be alone. God created Eve along with Adam. What does that tell you? There is a need for our children to go out. And to go out. She said something that because she was caged growing up now, she always wants to go out. She now has the itchy feet, always wanting to go out. That is her own way. Me, I was caged growing up, and still now, going out is like a chore for me. Going out, when it comes, going out is like a chore for me. Like, I remember back then in the university, my friends would come and visit me, but see me to go and visit somebody. Not that I didn't care about them, I didn't want them, but going out is like, especially if I have a book to read, or don't even give me a book to read, just give me a book, let me be writing, a pen and a paper. I can write from now till Judgment Day. I will not even remember to eat, So please, lessons I learned. While we're just having this conversation, it just crossed my mind. We are going to have a 30-day proof your home challenge in the academy. I don't know, maybe we'll have it next month. We are supposed to have a reparent yourself challenge. I don't know if we should have this so that we can prepare our children for the long holiday. So let me know if we should have it next month or we should go back to our reparent yourself, because I just realized the long holiday is coming and we need to reparent. We need to have this conversation with our children so that everyone can be comfortable talking about preparing their children for the long holiday where a lot of things happen. Thank you so much, Coach Odegbami. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you as you have poured into us today. We appreciate you. We take action. We apply this in our parenting. We work with this with our children, and our children will all turn out well. And as you have blessed us today, I say your own not go spoil, in Jesus' name. Amen. Your children will make you proud. They will make your family proud, make the nation proud, and make Nigeria, make God proud, especially. For everyone who is hearing my voice, your children will make you proud. They will make the nation proud, and especially they will make God proud. Whatever they do, their choices will always honor God in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Odegbami. We appreciate you. The Visionary Parents Academy appreciates you, and everyone who joined us today definitely appreciates you. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Good night, everyone.
Nice.
Remember to share, 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 share. I forgot to mention that. I forgot to mention that you should click the link, copy it, and share. This is about teenage pregnancy journey. So if you know any parent who has a girl child, you know anyone who has a girl child, or you have a girl child, please share and invite them. Let them come and watch and learn for themselves. Let them come and watch, let them learn, let them get empowered. Trust me, they are going to bless you for it. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.